Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is Basil Sadiq speaking from the Syrian Educational Channel from Damascus. Welcome to our seminar for today, which is specified to talk about classroom management. Dear teachers of English, as you know, our topic for today is very important. In our seminar for today, we will try to answer many questions related to classroom management. What should teachers do when we talk about classroom management in the classroom? What should teachers not do to manage the activities in the classroom? What are the techniques followed, the strategies followed when we talk about classroom management? What do we mean by classroom management? All these questions need answers, and in our seminar for today we will try to answer all these questions. Well, dear colleagues, let me first introduce my colleagues in our seminar for today. Ms. Umayma Sherba, an English supervisor from Tartus. Good afternoon, Ms. Umayma.
Good afternoon.
And Mr. Abdelmajid Oghorli, an English supervisor from Damascus countryside. Good afternoon, Mr. Abdelmajid.
Good afternoon. Glad to be with you again.
Thank you very much. Well, dear colleagues, as you know, our topic for today is very important, as I said, because when we talk about classroom management, we mean everything the teachers, let's say, does to prepare for activities, to manage for the activities, and to apply different activities in the classroom. And maybe there is a relation between classroom management, of course, and lesson planning. As you know, in
yes.
last week, we talked about lesson planning. Today we are going to talk about classroom management. Ms. Umayma,
yes.
When we talk about classroom management, I'd like to ask you about these two words. What do we mean by classroom management?
Thank you, Mr. Basil. Speaking about classroom management, we speak about the classroom itself, where is the place the students spend most of their time,
yes.
and the management of this classroom, which is related to the teacher himself, managing the classroom, the lesson plan, everything, the activities, the students, everything related to the classroom itself.
Good.
Managing should be very prepared, okay? So as students spend time, as I said, in classroom, they develop sense about whether the classroom is a nurturing place to learn. A classroom climate refers to a teacher and classroom characteristics that promote students' feeling of safety and security, together with a sense of success, challenge, and understanding.
So, Ms. Umayma, let's stop here. Classroom management, when we say classroom management, we mean the healthy atmosphere, let's say that, a healthy climate for learning.
That's right.
In general.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
Mr. Majid?
Yes.
What can you add?
Yes, as you said, Mr. Basil, it's a healthy climate for the environment. The students feel safe.
Yes.
It's a place where they feel safe in order to learn, in order to do all the activities.
Good.
If they are treated as competent people, they understand the requirements of learning tasks,
Good.
perceive them as challenging, and believe they will succeed if they make reasonable efforts.
A good explanation, Ms. Umayma. I think many teachers or some teachers think that the classroom management means only to know how to control the classroom or how to control the pupils', let's say, behavior in the classroom. Of course, we can say one of the features, yes, but not everything, Mr. Majid. Yes. So it is not true that classroom management means to control the pupil's behavior. That's not correct.
Not correct.
While the correct meaning of classroom management is to create, as you said,
yes,
a good atmosphere, a healthy atmosphere, a healthy climate for learning. This is what we mean by classroom management. So to do so, of course, there are many techniques and strategies that should be followed by the teacher himself.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Basil.
Mr. Majid, when Ms. Umayma talked about safety in the classroom, when we say a safe climate, what do you mean by safety in the classroom?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, the need for safety actually can be explained in two ways. When the schools are safe places where trust, order, cooperation, and high morale predominate, this is one thing.
Good.
The other thing, when the students understand everything about what they need in the classroom, the function to be more effective, and to understand the learning structures and requirement of their classroom.
Good. So here we can say that the safe, let's say, classroom management is necessary to achieve anything in the classroom.
There should be trust.
If the environment is not safe, when we say safe, as you said, we mean to trust your students and to make your students trust you.
Yes.
There is a relation. There must be a relation between the teacher and the student. What else?
Yeah, the teacher needs to show confidence, because these students need that confidence in their teachers so that they feel safe.
Good.
And the teachers, as you said, one of the issues is to control the classroom, to control the students. Actually, as a teacher, needs to know where to sit his students before he starts his lesson. If he has naughty students, to put them at the beginning in front of him, and to distribute them, not to make them sit all together so that they don't make any troubles. And in the end, when he planned for his lesson, he knows how to control everything. This is one of the classroom management features. The students, then planning for the lesson, to show them confidence that he is very well confident about himself and he knows what he is going to teach them, and to prepare them how to receive the lesson, how to make them understand what they need to do in the classroom.
Good answer, Mr. Majid. So we can say classroom management is not only to manage the activities in the classroom, but to manage your, let's say, plans as a teacher at the same time.
Yes.
Am I right?
That's right.
Good. Ms. Umayma,
Yes.
we can say that there are some, let's say, instructional factors related to classroom management.
Yes.
What can you tell us about these factors, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Basil. Speaking about the factors, we speak about the things which motivate students' learning and the English. It's the way, or the ways. They are the ways teacher organize and conduct learning activities. Also influence students' motivation, as you say, to learn. And these factors include success, challenge, concrete and personalized examples, involvement in learning activities, and feedback about learning practice.
Good.
These are the factors, okay? We're speaking about them.
So here, let's stop. Thank you, Ms. Umayma. When we talk about success, what do we mean by success? I think all teachers know about success.
Yes.
Of course, we don't mean here success only for teachers, but we mean success for the, let's say, learning process as a whole, and we mean the teacher and the student at the same time.
Right.
Yes. Good. When we say challenge, challenge here, to create a challenge, a challenging spirit, let's say, when we talk about the student himself.
Yes.
Right? So the teacher should know very well how to create this challenge in the students, in the student himself, inside the student.
Provoking them.
Exactly, exactly. When we say concrete and personalized examples, of course here the teacher should give examples most of the time.
That's right.
And he should choose and, let's say, differentiate or vary when giving examples.
Yes.
Involvement in learning activities, when we talk about all the students in the classroom, all of them should participate, all of them should be involved in the teaching process, all of them are working at the same time, maybe different activities when he divides the students into groups or pair work, right? Of course, we are going to talk about this. And the feedback about learning progress. Mr. Majid, I'd like to stop here. I'd like to ask you about this. How can teachers do feedback about the, let's say, the learning progress of his students?
Well, when you always keep asking your students questions about the lesson, you make sure that you could convey the idea you are teaching to them. So asking questions, evaluating, using periodical and final evaluation, this can give you feedback about if you could convey the idea or not.
Good. Thank you very much. So I can use maybe one question or two questions to make sure that
they understood.
The skills have been achieved or mastered by the students. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the objectives of our seminar for today. Well, in our seminar for today, as you know, we are talking about classroom management, but we are going to talk in details, let's say that. We will discuss techniques of classroom management, engaging students in learning, teacher-student relationship, pair work, group work, use of native language in the ELT classroom, setting a homework assignment, and that's it. So, now, when we talk about techniques of classroom management, I think it's Mr. Majid's turn. I'd like to ask you, Mr. Majid, about the techniques of classroom management.
Yes.
What are the techniques of classroom management, please?
Thank you. Well, in every classroom, every teacher knows who are the stronger students and who are the weaker students.
Good.
So we advise this teacher not to hesitate to use these stronger students to help him teaching the lesson with him to make the weaker ones understand. So this is kind of cooperation between stronger students and weaker students.
Good.
And in the past, teachers used to lecture. We advise them to stop lecturing, to move from sage on the stage to teaching by the side.
Change his strategy,
guide by the side.
change his
Yes.
methods,
Yes,
change.
Yes.
Yes.
Make your students work, group work and pair work, make them work, and you from the side monitor.
And this is what we want our teachers to be.
Yes.
Like,
because
the
now,
teacher, as you said in the past, sorry, Mr. Majid, was a lecturer. He
Lecturing,
was a
yes.
lecturer in the past, sitting on the stage and giving a lecture. No one in the classroom is, let's say, participating in the teaching process, or let's say working. They are listening to the teacher. But when we talk about the new communicative approach or the new methods,
student-centered classes,
yes,
we need to make students themselves work, and the teacher is the director of the film
very nice.
in the classroom.
Yes.
So guide by the side, giving help when needed, not to interrupt if the students are not stuck at some place.
Yes.
Using time while planning, he needs to distribute time efficiently. Using time is very
Effective or essential, necessary, yes.
essential in the classroom unit.
Good.
And as we said, we need to show these students that we are confident as teachers, but not arrogant.
Exactly.
The arrogance is something not liked, because students will not like you when you are
Yes.
very arrogant.
And
Show them that you're confident. They have answers whenever they need it.
you mean don't show your students that you know everything. You
Yes.
are the only, let's say, source of information in the classroom, and everybody in front of you doesn't know what you know.
But when a teacher
Right.
prepares, he must know at least 95% from what he is going to teach these students.
Yes.
Because while planning, he needs to elicit, to predict what the students may ask him while the lesson is going on.
Good.
And if he doesn't know anything, or if he forgot about something, to re-prepare himself to show them that he knows at least 95%, but never to give wrong information. It's a good idea to say, next time I will bring you in details the
Yes.
answer to these questions. This is better than, even if the students say he didn't know the answer, it's better than to give wrong information, because they will lose the trust in him. If he gave wrong information, they
Yes.
will not trust him. Moreover, he gives
Exactly.
anything in the future.
I agree with you. What else?
Rearranging chairs. Well, this is boring when the same students work together, individual, pair work, group work. So rearranging, pairing, and group work. So give them confidence in themselves by give them wide choice.
What is
wide
the,
choice
this
to
is the
do.
benefit of changing.
Yes. So change those students who work together, the pair work and the group work. This gives them wide experience in
Exactly.
working.
Exactly.
And whenever it is available or it's okay, display the students' work on the walls to show
Yes.
that they did good job.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, Miss Umayma,
Yes.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
I think it's very, very important. How can teachers ensure that students are fully engaged in learning? I am a teacher in the classroom, and I want to make sure that we talked about involving all the students in the learning process. How can I make sure as a teacher that my students in the classroom, all of them, are involved or engaged in learning?
Yes, there are many steps related to this question. Thank you, Mr. Basil, for asking. This is, as we said, related to the teacher and his planning, previously to the lesson planning, and he knows what he did before, then what he is going to do in the session or during the classroom. So the teacher should start each lesson with what the students know about. He
You mean
shouldn't
the
start
previous
with the previous
knowledge or experience?
Yes.
Good.
He shouldn't start something very new that they have no idea about it. It makes them unable to understand easily.
Exactly.
He should introduce new materials gradually.
I think last week we talked about this when
Yes.
when we talked about lesson planning. We said you have to start your planning or your lesson with something
Related to the
Related
related
previous lesson.
to the previous lesson or previous
So
experience
start
or
with
knowledge
something the students know
to build on it.
to move to something they don't know.
Exactly.
Yes, and we said that we are going to speak about this in the classroom management. It's really related
we
to...
mentioned that, yes.
we mentioned
Yes,
this.
yes.
And then speaking about time, the teacher should allow time for students to make smooth transition from one activity to the next.
Good.
Give them time to do the activity and time to make this transition to move from one...
He needs to make sure that they absorbed the
Yes.
information he
So
gave
don't
them.
depend on only 5 or 6 students who are, let's say, who have, let's say, strong skills, or they are skilled enough to do the activity in a hurry or in a short time. You have to know that there are others in the classroom, other students who are, let's say, weak, or they have, let's say, a lower level than their partners in the classroom, and you should give them enough time to do the activity or the exercise.
As you mentioned,
Yes.
when changing the pairs and the groups, it's a good idea for the teacher to put strong ones with weak ones so
Yes.
that they help each other learning. We said don't hesitate using the good students to
Yes.
help you teaching the lesson to the weaker ones.
And
Thank
at
you.
the same time, encouraging those weak or slow learners, encouraging them, and
Yes.
not allow the fast or the quick learners to do
Dominate.
to show to
Exactly.
dominate the stage.
Exactly.
That's it.
So,
then
let me ask you now, Ms. Umayma, how to do so?
yes,
How can the teacher engage his students in the classroom? Please.
yeah, thank you. The teacher should introduce classroom routines
Yes.
first, so that students become familiar with them. Respond more quickly and develop self-confidence. This is related to the students.
When we say classroom routines, Ms. Umayma, what do you mean by this?
Well,
Classroom routines, Mr. Majid.
yes.
What do you mean by the routine?
Warming up, students need to know that we start with warming up, then we start the new lesson.
Yes.
We show them, like what you did just right now, you introduced the objectives of our seminar to the
Exactly.
watchers. So now they
To be
can
clear enough.
elicit, they can
Yes.
elicit what we are going to talk about. So we need to prepare our students about what we are going to give them from the beginning. We're going to talk about this and that and that. Then we move them one by one.
I
Yes.
think, Mr. Majid, not only the stages, but also maybe the instructions of the teacher.
This is from the beginning of the year.
Yes.
You mentioned this before.
At the beginning of each activity, Ms. Umayma,
Yes.
my instructions should be clear,
Yes.
right?
We insist on clear
Yes,
instructions,
yes.
clear and simple.
So maybe the classroom routines, I think this is what we mean when we talk about classroom routines. Everything related to doing activities. We are talking about engaging the student
Engaging.
in the activity.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
Then the teacher should allow enough time for students to answer questions. Ask them many questions and allow them and give them time to answer this question. Don't hesitate, whether orally or in writing.
Yes.
And while planning,
Why?
he can know about this. How much time do the students need to do this?
According to the
exercise?
level of his students,
Yes.
of course.
He
knows
knows.
very well the level of his students, and he knows the correct time or the exact time of each activity.
And in average, of course.
And of course.
If a student is very slow, we cannot give the whole time for this student to give the
Sure,
answer.
sure. Okay.
Another thing is to include plenty of reinforcement, recycling, and revision of vocabulary and language structure. The teacher also should include as much variety as possible in the pace and types of activity. Then treat the students as individuals, giving them individual attention wherever possible.
This is what you said. The teacher knows his students, who is strong, who is weak, not to give the lesson as a whole,
Exactly.
to concentrate on weak ones, strong ones, as we said.
Give them time. Give time
yes.
for all the students in the classroom. Well, before we continue, Ms. Umaima, I think we have a call from Ms. Randa from Tartus. Good afternoon, Randa.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Thanks for your call. We are fine. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, are you a teacher?
Yes, I'm a teacher, yes.
English teacher, of course.
An English teacher, of course.
Okay. Any teacher can call us. It's okay. But here we are talking in English now. It's okay. What's your question or your addition to your seminar?
Okay, actually I was watching you, but there was a power cut, so I'm not sure about the points that you have
So you
covered.
can listen to us
Can
only.
Yes,
You can
yes,
listen to
but-
me now. You
yes,
you hear me
yeah,
now?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Okay, we're
I mean-
listening. We're listening.
Okay.
What would you like to say?
Yes. I have just some points that could be helpful, or I think that they could be helpful to manage the classroom properly. First, it's very important to organize the lesson step by step before coming into the class.
So you're talking
And,
about lesson planning. Very good.
Yes.
I
yes.
agree with you.
This is, I think you may have covered this.
Yes, we
Okay.
did. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Now, and something very important actually is to get everything ready. Let's say before you come into the classroom. I mean, including the aids, the visual aids,
The materials.
audio aids, the materials. Yes,
I
that's
agree
very
with you.
important.
Good.
So that students won't have time to get busy in other things while the teacher gets ready or prepares these things. For example, let's
Thank
say
you.
if you have a
Yes,
listening
I agree with you.
exercise, the teacher should know exactly what track, let's say, he needs in this exercise.
Yes.
So he wanted to waste time looking for the track. So, students, meanwhile, will make a lot of noise and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else?
Sorry?
So, Miss Randa, you talked about planning
Yes.
and you talked about the materials required for all the activities in the classroom. You mean
Yes.
any teacher should prepare very well before he enters the classroom. He should prepare a good plan and he should prepare his materials at the same time, of course, for this plan or to do this plan. Right?
Right, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And this is what we mean by classroom management. When we talk about classroom management, we don't mean, of course, that what you can do inside the classroom, but what you can do before entering the classroom and, let's say, maybe after giving the lesson.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Do you
Yes,
have anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to add one idea.
Why not?
Actually, it's out of my experience. It's very important, and I think it's really necessary that the teacher knows each individual and each student in the classroom,
Good.
so he can call him or her by name. So students feel that they are, let's say, known, and the teacher actually has a good relationship with them. So it's very important to know your students by name.
Thank you very
you know
much.
their levels and their progress.
From the first day, you have to know the names of your students. It's very necessary
Yes.
to make the
Yes.
student respect you and to make him, let's say, trust you and to make him more motivated to what you are saying. I agree with you. I have
That's correct.
a question for you, Ms. Randa. Can I ask you?
Of course. Go
Thank
on.
you.
Yes, go ahead.
What grades do you teach?
I teach different grades. This year I'm teaching the 9th grade and the third. The ninth grade and the third secondary.
Good.
grade.
So let's say that you are in the classroom now, and you are doing an activity, whatever, and you face suddenly there is a problem. For example, you are using the recorder, it's okay, and suddenly the electricity is switched off. What do you do in this case? I mean, you are using a tape,
Yes.
and there is a listening exercise. The students are listening, and suddenly a stop. There is no electricity. What can you do in this case?
Yes, it's also very important that a teacher always, let's say, puts in mind something like this. So to have, let's say, something we call Plan B or something like this.
Yes.
So I may, let's say, get, let's say, with me the tape script, the written tape script maybe, so I can read it, let's say, using my own voice, or let's say, so that I can,
Good
let's say,
answer.
continue doing the exercise. So be, let's say, ready for all the options or the circumstances.
That's right.
That's
Very
right. Thank you very much. I
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
your experience. I appreciate your call. We all would like to thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you
so
very
much.
much.
For your call and for this great experience. Thank you very, very much, Ms. Randa.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
hope
Thank you.
we meet in the future. Thank you very much. Good luck. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Well, dear colleagues, would like to thank Ms. Randa
Yes, thank
because she has a good experience, really.
Yes.
She talked about a well-lesson plan. She talked about the required materials. I can't give a lesson without materials or visual aids, let's say that.
It's clear that she was following us last time
Yes,
and
yes,
today.
yes, I'm sure. And she talked also about a good relationship between you and your students. You have to create a good relationship. And
Yes.
I
We're
think
going to
Ms.
talk
Umayma
about
talked
this,
about
yeah.
this before.
Yes,
A
friendly.
few minutes ago.
Yes.
So let's go back to our speech.
Yes,
Please.
about engaging students in
You were
learning.
talking about how to engage students in learning.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Another thing to add is to give students a reason for what they are doing. They
Good.
need to know why. What are they doing? They need to know why they learn, the reason for the activity itself, the classroom, the lesson, the level. So, and another thing, encourage students to work together, whether in pairs or group work, on projects. Language is social, collaborative activity.
Good. Ms. Umayma, I'd like to go back to the first point because I think, dear colleagues, it's very, very important.
Yes.
When we talk about the communicative approach, as you remember in our first seminar, we talked about something which is very important. We said the teacher should relate everything the student,
To real life.
Let's say, learns to real life. For example, I am a teacher now in the classroom, and I'd like to give them, to teach them something in grammar. Maybe many of the students will feel bored after a time. Why? Because you are talking about grammar only, and this is a wrong strategy, I think. Don't say the simple present is used for so and so, the form of the simple present is so and so, etc. The traditional method.
Yes, yes.
We have to link everything with reality. We can give the students many examples on the board, and we can ask them about these examples and let the students conclude the uses of the simple present, because each example
It is called
can
grammar
talk
through
about
context.
a use of the simple present.
Yes.
So I think it's better, it's a good strategy and better than the traditional one.
Yes.
And it makes the student think in English. It makes him think in English.
Yes.
By doing so, I think he will be more motivated.
That's right.
Am I right?
Yes.
In
of course.
the learning process.
Yes.
And this is what you mean, I'm
Yes,
sure.
that's what I mean. For what they are doing, when they give examples related to their real
Good.
life, to
Good.
things really existed, then they know how to communicate in English in the correct way,
Good.
to know the reason for what they are going or they are doing.
Good.
It's very important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I have many questions for English teachers watching us now. Did you or have you asked yourself, have you ever asked yourself the following question? What is my relationship with my students? Have you ever asked yourself, not asked him, am I satisfied with this relationship? Are you satisfied with this relationship with your students
Very important
as a teacher?
question.
would you like to introduce changes to it if it is, let's say, not good or traditional? Of course, we have to add something every day in our life. We have to do
We
something
need change.
new. We need
Always
change.
we need change, or
Yes.
else we will be boring.
Yes.
So we need to change our tactics from time to time.
Exactly. Especially the routine, Mr. Man.
Yes. Break the routine.
Sometimes kills.
Yes.
It kills sometimes.
Kills
Yes,
creativity.
yes. So, Mr. Majid, we asked different questions before, but now I'd like to ask you the following question. How should the teacher behave when with the students? I mean, when he is
While he
with
is
his
with the
students in the
student, while
classroom.
teaching, yes.
How should he behave?
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you very much. First thing, a teacher needs to be patient. Never ask a student to hurry along, because if the student is hurried along or interrupted, it is not going to be a good idea. He is not going to learn effectively. Second, the teacher needs to be positive.
Good.
Always show the students that you are sure they're going to learn. Show them a good example in life. Show them that they can learn. Don't be negative. Don't say, you're not going to learn. You're always boring. It is a disaster to teach you. Don't be negative. Always show them positiveness in themselves.
Good.
Positive, when you are positive, this will develop students' self-confidence and promote in them a positive attitude to learning.
Good.
As we mentioned just right now, be friendly.
Good relationship.
Yeah, good
as I
relationship
understand.
with the
Yes.
students.
Yes.
So as much friendly as you are, as much they are going to be good students with you. Students at the beginning, you need to control them. Yes, we are right, but in a friendly way, because when you are threatening, most of the time, this is useless.
Good.
So the teacher needs to be friendly and relaxed. Nervous students will convey this nervous to the students. They will be nervous by return.
Good.
Students learn much better if they don't feel threatened or afraid. And we mentioned before, enthusiasm. A teacher needs to be enthusiastic. Even if he is not, he needs to pretend that he is enthusiastic,
To encourage
because
the
it will encourage the students to enjoy
Good.
the process of learning.
Good.
Teach through fun, sense of humor. It's a good idea to be not funny. We're not going to ask the teacher to be a clown in the classroom, but to use some fun while teaching.
Why not?
This helps the students to be more positive,
I think
not
this
to be
strategy
bored.
works with all levels, Mr.
Yes.
Majid, not only with
Yes.
young learners, with all levels.
All levels.
Yes.
Make them laugh. Try to mention something funny in front of the students so that it always mentioned before, it helps the adrenaline to go to the brain to refresh the student. So teaching through fun is a very good idea.
Good.
That's right. And makes the lesson more interesting. Make the
I agree with
lesson
you.
interesting. More.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much, Mr. Majid. Well, dear Umima, we talked about pair work and group work.
Yes.
When I talked about the objectives of our seminar, I mentioned pair work and group work. What can you tell us about pair work and group work? What is the meaning of pair work and group work?
Thank you, Mr. Basil. Speaking about the work of the students, whether they work in pair work, in group work, it relates to the ability of the student to do the activity or to do to communicate. We're speaking about communicative activities, that the teaching of English is viewed as a process of developing and enhancing students' ability to learn effectively as individuals and collaboratively in groups. The ability to learn as individual, when the student is able to do all the activity as an individual student, and to do pair work. Pair work maybe with the teacher himself, the student and the teacher, or the student with another student,
Yes.
you know, to do the activity.
So we can have more than
Modeling.
one model. I mean, more than one way. We
More
have
than
three
one.
ways, let's say that,
Yes.
or 4 ways. What?
Yes.
3 ways, I
The
think.
3 ways:
Teacher with the
teacher
student.
With the student,
student
or-
with the teacher,
Yes.
or students with another
Another
student.
student.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is the central element for promoting success in communicative activity.
Well, thank you. Let's stop here, Ms. Umayma, and then we can continue, but after the break, not now. Well, dear colleagues, English teachers, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a break. Let's have a break, and then we can go back. Thank you. Hello again, dear colleagues, English teachers. Well, before our break, we were talking about the three, let's say, models. We talked about the relation between the teacher and the student. And now we have given three models for doing any work in the classroom, Ms. Umayma.
Yes.
You talked about three models.
Yes.
When the teacher speaks to the student, when the student speaks to the teacher, and when the student speaks to another student.
Yes.
A student. So this is the central element for promoting success in communicative activities. When we
Yes.
talk about communication, this is the real communication. You are not only, let's say, a transmitter or a receiver. You are both of them. Right? You are a transmitter of the message and you are a receiver of the message. So when you listen to someone, you have to send another message to him. You have to receive and you have to send. So this is real life. This is how we live.
Yes.
Yes.
We are humans and this is how we communicate with others. So we should follow this strategy, Ms. Umayma, right?
Right.
Now, what can you add to
Yes.
this, please?
Speaking about these activities that we spoke about them, now these activities are fluency-based. The teacher should encourage fluency doing these activities, all of them or one of them, and they will probably result in many errors, especially when student
We
with
could have some
another
mistakes.
student.
Why not?
Why
Okay.
not? And correcting mistakes also relate to the teacher himself, the way he managed things and
Good.
correct in
Good.
the classroom.
And usually we don't interrupt.
Yes.
We don't correct immediately. We let time. Then we say it happened that some of you said this and that, and the correction is like this.
I
Yes.
like to ask you this question, but you have answered it. It's okay.
good.
In case we have a problem,
I can
In
read
case
your
we
mind.
have-
in case
problem.
that we have a mistake,
Yes.
the student makes a mistake when he
Never
does an
interrupt, yeah,
activity.
never
What can I
interrupt.
do in this case?
Yes, we never
Let
interrupt.
him
Yeah,
complete,
continue.
then
And then
You can
avoid making the student feel that he made a mistake.
exactly.
After a time, let time pass, then say, some of you may say this in this way, the correction is like this.
Good.
So that the student doesn't feel shy
Yes.
or confused.
Good, good. Thank you very much. It's a good strategy, yes. What else?
Yes, they involve multiple turn taking. This is very important. It encourages students and motivate them to learn more when they have turn taking, multiple.
We exchange roles.
Exchange roles,
Yes,
very
yes,
important.
yes. Why not?
in this
Good.
activity. And we have organizing pair and group work it's a management task. The teacher has two roles doing this.
Yes.
First of all, to monitor what the students do, and to provide help, information, and feedback when asked.
Good.
Yes, when asked, not to interrupt.
Not to interrupt.
Never interrupt except when the students get stuck.
Yes.
Exactly.
Here you interfere.
You can help. In
But
this
when the lesson is going smoothly, let it go, just monitor. Later you can tell them that you
And
were
correct
right
the
in this.
mistake.
Yeah. and correct the mistakes.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
it.
very much. Well, thank you, Ms. Umayma.
Thank you.
Mr. Majid, I have a question for you.
Please.
When we want to do activities in the classroom, especially communicative activities, of course, how to prepare, or what should teachers do to prepare for a communicative activity? Please.
Thank you very much. As we mentioned last time, the lesson plan and classroom management are correlated. The teacher needs to know beforehand what exchanges is going to happen, what type of exchanges students should produce. He needs to know what the result of the lesson is going to be.
Good.
He needs to set the scene. As Ms. Randa said in her phone call, to bring the visual aids, to prepare everything for the lesson, and to explain to the students what is going to happen while they are taking the lesson.
So,
He needs to generate interest in the activity. He needs to try to make the student get interested in the activity they're going to be indulged in, and to make sure everyone knows what he or she is going to do in the activity. So he needs to explain everything about the activity before they start it.
Yes.
He sets. He's the director of the film, as we said, and he needs to explain how the activity will begin and how it will end.
good.
He is going to be the guide by the side, tell them everything is going to happen, and then he asks them to start the activity and to monitor by the side.
And to know how to end the activity.
Yes, of course, he is going to know. And he needs to tell them how the activity will begin and how it will end, so that they know what they are going to
The purpose
do.
of the
The
activity.
purpose of
They
the
should
activity.
know that.
Yes.
Now,
Then-
you talked about preparing. What about managing?
Managing, he begins the activity, then he monitors the activity, and as we said, never interrupt. As long as the activity is going smoothly, not to interrupt. Only interrupt when they need your help, when they ask for it, or
Good.
when the students get
Good.
stuck. Help the flow of talk along when necessary. So if you find that the students are going in fluency, keep it. Let the flow goes. Move around the classroom listening carefully what they are doing, and if they do something good, to talk about this in the feedback and to correct when needed. Identify common errors after you listen and grab the errors, and when the activity is finished, talk about the errors. Say, we found some errors in your activity. It should be done this way, to correct after the activity, not during the activity.
Good.
Then when the activity is finished, say, yeah, it's okay. Now it is done. We're done. End the activity in your way to show them that now the activity is done. Then talk about good things and bad things, errors in the activity. Then ask for feedback to make sure that the activity was done in a good way. Ask questions to get the feedback about the activity.
Thank you very much. Now,
Yes.
We
Ms.
move to
Umayma?
pair work.
Yes,
We move
yes,
to pair work
yes.
and group work. We said to break the routine in your classroom, always change the individuals who work with each other, the pair work students, and change the members who work in group works. And always make sure that these groups are combined from strong students and weak students to help each other.
yes.
This allows students to communicate more widely and develop self-confidence in
And
them.
I think you have mentioned this.
Yeah, I mentioned
yes,
this.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, Ms. Umayma, now, we talked about pair work and group work. Now, let's talk about the teacher's role in group work.
Yes.
Mr. Majid talked about pair work, right?
Yes.
What about group work now? What is the role of the teacher in group work?
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. The subject is also related to the pair work and the group work. The teacher himself should prepare and organize that the manager of a group work session, the teacher tasked to plan, first of all, plan for the activity, then organize the activity. start the activity, monitor, and put time. Timing is very important.
Good.
Then concluding. This is related to group work. As we said in the pair work,
Yeah.
planning,
So it's the
organizing,
same.
Plans
timing.
very well
They are,
before.
yes.
Yes.
Then he organizes everything to be done in the classroom.
Yes.
Then he starts the activity after he has told the students what they need to do.
Yes.
Then he monitors from the side what they are doing.
Exactly.
Then to set the time, because he
Timing
needs
is
to
very
give
necessary.
the exact time
Because you
for
have
every
only
activity.
45 minutes, for example,
Yes.
in each lesson,
Yes.
or 50 minutes. So you have.
And then he himself, the
time.
teacher, concludes the
Yes.
activity.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there are strategies in doing the teacher role. Also,
Okay.
bear in mind the strategies. In writing, we have the writing workshop and speaking. For the writing workshop, get students to check each other's
It's a good
writing
idea, yes,
for
always.
mistakes. Yes, because
To-
as
to
always,
implant confidence in themselves,
Yes.
to make them correct each other's
And in
work.
this way, we exchange experience
yes,
between the students
And the
themselves.
teacher will give help when needed, of course.
Of course, of course.
of course,
Yes.
yes. And for speaking within the course, there is also variety of whole class, pair work, and group work activity.
Yes.
Yes, these are the strategies relating to the activity done for
Thank
pair
you.
work and group work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I think we have a very important point now, Mr. Majid. Some teachers follow, I think, a wrong strategy when they use their native language in the classroom. We are English teachers and we teach English. Is it okay? Is it good? Is it, let's say, useful to use the native language, your native language, which is Arabic, in the classroom? What can
Thank you.
tell
Thank
us?
you very much for asking me this question. I love the question, and I always face problems with a lot of teachers connected to this question.
Yes.
It is a fact that we don't have very strong students in our schools. The problem is the teachers say students cannot understand everything in English.
We
so
always
need-
hear these,
Yes.
let's say, phrases.
Yes,
at
So
school.
we need to teach using Arabic, and it is easier to teach in Arabic. And the result is, we always say, if it is good, we would have found a lot of English speakers in our students at the end of the teaching sessions.
Yes.
I mean, after the baccalaureate. But what we have, it is a fact, and we need to admit that we don't have a good speakers of English. And if we have someone who speaks English very well, he or she is self-made.
yes.
Why? The reason, so when we see that the outcome is not very good, we need to think about the procedures we followed in our teaching.
Good.
It is not good at all to use Arabic in your teaching.
So let me say this, Mr. Majid. Let's speak frankly. We are talking frankly now. An English teacher should be a good speaker of English.
This comes first, and unfortunately, we meet a lot of English teachers who are not fluent speakers.
Of course,
of
I don't
English.
mean a good speaker that he can read English very well. I mean to speak English, to use the language, and to be able to communicate with your students most of the time, all the time, in English.
In
If
English.
you can do this, I think it's okay. You are an English teacher. If you can't, I think I'm not asking you to change your profession, no, but to add something to your experience,
Yes, to
train
improve.
yourself. If you feel that you are weak in speaking, you said, Mr. Majid, and we
Of course,
admit, we
there-
all
there
admit
is
that,
much-
okay, we are, it's okay, weak in speaking. Let's say that. Let's say that. Okay, we have this skill, which is speaking, and I'd like to add another one, which is listening also. We are, maybe because we don't practice these two skills in very well in the classroom, we don't give enough time to these two skills in the classroom, and this is why we have this result. Let's say that.
If we remember, I mentioned once that the best way to learn is to teach. While teaching, the teacher himself must improve. he must improve his fluency, his ability in teaching. As long as he is using Arabic, he or she will not improve at all, and I can assure those who use Arabic that they are not going to improve. This is one thing. Another thing, when we teach the language, the English language, translating into Arabic, this takes double the time needed to understand. The students here will need to receive the language, translate it,
Yes.
and then to understand it. It takes double the time. We always say, let your students think in English.
Exactly.
As long as teaching in English is okay, never use Arabic. Here, teachers may think that I'm allowing using Arabic. No, I'm not doing that. Actually, when we say this, we are saying to teachers, all levels of teachers, from grade 1 to grade 12.
Don't you remember when we were in the first year in the university, a professor told us, I'm sure that you know this person very well, and I'd like to thank him now, live. He said, Ms. Umayma, if you want to improve your language, your English, do everything in English.
Yes.
Swim in English, sleep in English,
Yes, he
eat in
said
English, play in English, drink in English, everything. So,
Think in English.
so
Yes.
we should not
Live in
forget
English.
our native language. I'm not asking you to forget about it, but if you want to practice English, you have to do everything in English.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. Yes.
And it's the same for French. It's the same for Russian. It's the same for any foreign language.
Yes. Actually, when we start teaching from grade 1 in English and we move to grade 2 in English, to grade 3 in English, it will be very easy. The problem happens when a teacher wants to use only English, but he starts teaching only level 7, 8, and 9, and he receives students who were taught in bilingual language, Arabic and English. So when he starts to change into pure English, he will face a lot of difficulties. I'm not saying it is okay here to use Arabic. No, it will be more difficult, but we need to concentrate on English.
Exactly.
If your students used to have the meaning in Arabic, you can, while planning to prepare forward a lesson, ask your students to check in their own dictionaries or to use the stronger students to know the meanings of these words and to give the meaning of these words in Arabic to the students before the lesson. They can check, or a student can tell the meaning in Arabic to the other students, but the teacher never to use Arabic in the classroom.
And Mr. Majid, not only, we are not the only people who are telling this. Also, the supporters
The communicative,
of
the
the
communicative
approach have
say
told us,
this.
or have banned, let's
Yes.
say that, the use of the native language in the classrooms because it doesn't help the learner, let's say, to
learn English
achieve the
well.
target from learning.
Yes.
We need to bear in mind that especially Arabic speakers when the native speaker is Arabic, Arabs use verb, subject, verb, noun, complement. Verb, subject, complement. The English language is composed, starts with the subject, not with the verb.
Exactly.
So the brains of Arabs used to receive the language, verb, subject,
Because they
etc.
think in Arabic.
Yes. So when we change this to make it subject verb, it's a bit confusing to the mind at the beginning only.
Yes.
As long as we are teaching in Arabic, this problem will be with the student.
How can we overcome this problem?
We use only English, and the mind will be
A lot of
accustomed,
training,
a lot of
a lot of
training.
practice.
When we keep using the language, and as we said before, when the teacher speaks for grade 1, 45 minutes,
Yes.
pure English, and the lesson is only 4 words, cat, dog, giraffe, but he keeps using English so that he trains the
Certainly.
brains of these students to receive the language, subject, verb, and in another way, another language. And these students will learn the 4 or 5 words needed to be taught in the lesson.
Now, I have another question related to your speech, Mr. Majid. We are talking about native language. When can the teacher use the native language? I think when he uses the translation method. if he
And
follows
I hope
or
this will
depends
be,
on this method.
I hope this will be abolished in our exam papers in the future, because some teachers say we have translation question in the exam paper, so we need to use Arabic. So if we abolish this, it will be more beneficial.
Yes.
I'm not saying translation is not important, but don't teach in Arabic depending on just translation.
yes.
Teach English, and when you reach the translation, it's another branch. We can teach translation away from teaching English. We teach the language first, then, and we need to know that every translator, every interpreter, he needs to master the both languages.
Of course.
He needs to know.
So when
the
we have a
first-
text, now, I am the teacher in the classroom, and we have a reading text, and of course there are, let's say, a lot of new vocabulary in this text. And how can I now, let's say, teach my students the new vocabulary? There are many ways. Instead of using the native language, instead of translating the meanings of these words, I can use pictures.
Yes.
I can use many visual
Examples.
aids.
Thank you for saying
examples.
this. If you allow me, actually, even in Arabic, students are not able to understand all the words mentioned in Arabic.
It's natural.
But
It's normal.
Arabic teachers explain the difficult words in simple words to
Exactly.
make the students
So
understand.
use the same strategy.
They don't
in
use
English.
English. They don't use English to teach Arabic.
Exactly.
So why
I'd
should
like
we
to
use
thank
Arabic?
You, thank
Should we
you.
use
Thank you
Arabic?
very
Why
much.
should you use
So
Arabic teaching?
we can use the same strategy when we teach Arabic. As you said,
A lot of
we try to
complicated
use
words in
simple
Arabic
words to
language.
explain the new words.
Yeah, I explained in Arabic, but simple words.
But not
So
in
we
English.
can follow the same procedure teaching English. We teach
Exactly.
simple words, then we depend on these simple words to teach the more complicated ones, but not to use the
I
native
can
language.
use statements, sentences. I can use these words in sentences,
Yes,
and I think the student can understand the meaning of these words through the context.
Through the
Through
context,
the
very important.
Sometimes the student can understand the meanings of many words in the text through the context itself.
Yes.
And we always say, don't stop at a word that you didn't translate. You didn't understand the meaning in Arabic. If you can understand the general meaning, I always give an example and I say, please take out a peep from your peep and write. So what the teacher wants is the students to write. If they didn't understand the meaning of peep in these two
In each
mentioning,
case.
one can be a paper, can be, but in the end, he wants the students to write. So take out maybe a paper, maybe a pen, but in the end, he wants them to write.
He
So they-
motivated.
yeah.
He motivates them
So
to
if-
think in English.
Yes.
And when they stop at a word that didn't understand the meaning, they will miss
Thank you.
the rest of the
You're right.
conversation.
You're right. You're right.
So they don't need to
So
stop.
it's best not to use the native language.
course.
This is your answer.
Of course.
Ms. Umayma, do you agree?
Of course, I agree.
Sure?
Yes, yes, I'm sure. That's why I keep silent.
Thank
When
you
you
very
agree,
much.
you keep
Now,
silent.
We talked about the native language. Now we have another topic, Ms. Umayma.
Yes.
It's your turn now.
Thank you.
It's homework assignment. Is homework necessary? How can teachers, let's say, deal with homework assignment? Please.
Thank you, Mr. Bassel. Speaking about homework, it's very necessary. It's related to the homework, to the student, to the level, to the time doing the homework, to the level of learning, relate to many things. It's necessary if it's managed well.
So I have many questions, indeed. Should we assign homework? This is my first question. How much homework, Mr. Majid, should the teacher set?
Yes.
How often should the teacher set homework? How should the teacher best deal with completed homework in class? I think
Yes.
all these
Correct
are
thing.
questions and they need answers.
Yes,
Mrs.
yes, thank you. As I said, we speak about homework. I said it's related to the level of learning. It's important because I will start by speaking about the benefits of homework.
Good.
Okay. So the benefits, it provides additional practice, encourages the students to do additional practice related to the subject the teacher talked about in the classroom. It provides teacher with a way to monitor students' progress. How can a teacher know that they are reading, they are doing the activity, They do the practice without the homework, things that the students themselves do by themselves.
Good.
And it provides teachers with the way to diagnose students' learning problems when they do their homework.
Especially in writing, maybe.
Especially in writing.
Sometimes in grammar, why not?
Yes, in everything.
Yes.
Yes, doing homework is related to everything.
To everything.
Yes, maybe memorizing something
Yes.
to speak later on.
Good answer, Ms.
He knows how to manage the problems related to
Yes.
this. It's also increased students' responsibility and accountability. When they do their homework by themselves, depending on themselves and their own knowledge and what they have been taught in the classroom, this increases this responsibility in the students. This is one of the benefits. Another thing, facilitate more rapid movement through the curriculum. We know that there are some activities, especially in the activity books, things related to many things in the lesson. So it's speed, it makes rapid movement, and it helps
It doesn't waste time.
Doesn't waste time if it's done in a in a good way.
Yes.
It also allow the benefits, one of that allow for increased communication between school and home, because the student is supposed to do the homework at home, and he's supposed to depend on himself, sometimes on his parents, sometimes on the things relate to the home reference he needs. So
of course, parents can help.
Even parents
can
would
help.
like to know or would like to observe
The progress
their
of the
kids'
learning
progress.
Yes,
when we talk
especially with
about
the kids.
learning. So they can, let's say, follow their kids when they look at their notebooks, and they can help maybe sometimes when doing the homework at home.
Yes. So this leads to students and parents understanding that the school has high expectations for the students.
Good.
The relation between parents and school is very important in improving.
Let's go back to the first point, please, Ms. Umayma. When you talked about facilitation, or it facilitates more rapid movement through the curriculum.
Yes.
What do you mean by this? Let's say that the activity book, Unit 1, in the activity book, we have maybe 3 pages full of activities, and I can't, as a teacher, of course, do all these activities in one class. So I should first divide my work. This is number 1. Maybe I can choose some of these activities that can be done in the classroom. I can use the strategy of pair work and group work, as you said.
Yes.
And of course, I leave some of the exercises as a feedback later. And I can use some of them also as homework.
Yes.
So this is what we call division of work. So I can use some of them, but not all of them, because some teachers, I said some teachers, ask the students to do all these activities at home. They say, we don't have time to do these activities in the classroom. You have taken the lesson and you have to be able to do all these activities. I don't care.
The teacher needs to tell the students how they can do the activity, and to give them the instructions, clear instructions about how they can do the activity.
Of course.
And from time to time to correct. If he's going to correct everything in the classroom, he will not find time.
Yes.
But from time to time, he needs to give correction. And when a student finds difficulty in something, he needs to ask the teacher. The teacher needs to explain about it. But we can save time by giving homework so that the students make sure. And usually, when a student takes a lesson in the school, he understands very well, but he may forget the next day. But when he does the homework, this can be reinforced. He can make sure this information can be inscribed in his brain by doing the homework, and this can be applied to real life. So when he is doing the activity, this means that he can use what he learned in doing the exercises
Yes.
in the solution. He can find the solution for the problems.
Yes,
Yes.
In
yes,
real
I
life.
agree. I agree with you. Well, so you have talked about the homework.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Majid, what additional practice can be done by teachers when we talk about homework, please?
Well, we can ask them to review what they have took, to reread what they took, to rewrite something if they find it is difficult to be understood in the
Not
classroom.
only with homework, yes.
Yes. The additional practice to these students gives students the chance to review and prepare for the next day's lesson.
Yes.
So while they are rereading what they took, they can understand better and they can prepare for the following lesson.
Good.
This
How
additional
can I, sorry,
Yes.
how can I as a teacher ask my students to prepare for the next lesson?
Well,
Just ask them, prepare for the next lesson. That's it?
no,
No.
not
So
only that.
What is the strategy that can be
For
followed to do so?
example, check the meanings of new words for the check, read the lesson, find the new words, and find the meanings of these new words using
So I give
dictionary.
them activities.
Yes.
I give them some jobs to do.
We
to be
can
done.
Yes.
ask them
Of course.
to go to the library. We can ask them to surf the internet,
Or to bring some
to
pictures,
find
some
some
photos.
pictures, some
Yes, why not?
information about the following lesson.
Some materials maybe.
Some materials
Yes.
they can prepare for the following by finding information in the internet, in a library,
Exactly.
bring pictures as you said. So when they come to the next lesson, they come with an idea about what they are going to take in the lesson. They already have the idea about what they are going to face.
Good.
The additional practice allows for more in-depth exploration of topics than is possible during the class time.
Good.
Of course, in the classroom, we cannot surf the internet, we cannot go to the libraries. While they are doing this outside the classroom, it is a wide experience for the students to practice learning. As we said, the new method of teaching is teach these students how to learn. So
And
we
how
can-
to search for information.
for information.
By
Yes.
using the modern technology. Mr. Majid, we have many topics in our curricula that need, let's say, extra search, let's say that, at home. They can use the net, for example, to look for topics, to bring some useful topics related to our, let's say, topic in unit so and so.
Every student can do this alone.
Yes.
And in the following lesson, all these students are going to contribute what
Yes.
they got
Yes.
from their research in the lesson. So they will have an idea, already they will have an idea
Good.
about the lesson.
Good.
The role of the teacher is to control this, to guide it, give help when needed.
Good.
So the teacher, the students themselves can be the teachers. And it's a good idea to ask 2 or 3 students every lesson to give the lesson on behalf of the teacher.
Thank you.
So to
That's
be the
right.
teacher themselves to use, and the teacher can give help when needed.
Good. So let's say when we talk about writing, write a biography about someone, I can ask my students to write about someone. I can say that you can use the net, it may help you. Go back home and search for, let's say, choose a character you like, a history or a historical character, or someone from your real life. You can choose this character and write, let's say, a summary or a biography about him
And
or
give
her.
him
So it
evidence.
helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
Nowadays,
This
it's
strategy
very easy because we have the internet. When I was a kid, I'm not very old, but our teacher used to give us the name and where we can find information about something at the libraries.
Yes.
So we used to go to the library, search for the information. We wrote about it. Nowadays, our students are luckier than us.
I think
They
more
have
than
the-
90% of our students nowadays, even with the crisis, they use their mobiles and they use the net, so they can use the modern technology to let's say, to help them
Learning.
improve their English. Why not?
Actually, our students are more expert in using the new technology than us.
Exactly,
course.
exactly. I agree with you. Well, thank you, Mr. Majid. Ms. Umayma, we talked about homework. Of course, homework has a lot of advantages, and you have mentioned them.
Yes.
What about the disadvantages of
Yes.
homework? Sometimes we have some disadvantages.
Yes,
Please.
that's right. Thank you, Mr. Majid.
If we follow a wrong strategy, of course.
Yes, if we follow
If the teacher
wrong
follows
strategy.
a wrong strategy, we will have some disadvantages. What are these disadvantages?
Yes. The disadvantage is that homework can contribute significantly to students' negative attitude
Yes.
towards school. This is particularly true if homework is a source of conflict between students and parents at home.
Yeah, of course,
Especially
if
they
the
can't-
parents are very busy and the students need to have help from the parents, this homework will
Yes.
cause a conflict between the parents and
Confuse.
students. Yes.
And
Yes.
it reflects to the students when they have a negative attitude towards school. It reflects this. Then it create negative feeling if linked to punishment. If the teacher asks a student...
Yeah, some teachers make the homework to be kind of punishment if they do something,
Yes.
and a reward not to give homework.
You have to write this page 20 times.
Yeah, we used to do this when we were
10
kids.
times.
So, my God, so he will hate
punishment.
He will hate writing
Yes.
for the rest of his
Yes,
life, I
yes.
think. So,
Sometimes students, not because of their homework, sometimes they follow this kind of punishment. For example, write the lesson 10 times in order to attract the students' attention in the classroom. I'm not speaking now about the homework itself. I'm speaking about things in general when teachers do. Well, another thing, let's go back to the
it's okay.
disadvantages of
It's okay.
homework, okay? Because cause students anxiety if they don't
anxiety,
have
if they don't have a supportive,
a supportive, yes,
Yes.
a home life, which allows quiet time to complete assignments. And when reinforced skills learned incorrectly, if not corrected immediately by the teacher or by any
Yes.
other source.
This will reinforce the
Yes,
mistakes.
reinforce the mistakes.
Yes.
Yes. And take up students' time that could be spent doing other things that might have more influence on character. Like children
Yeah,
are
too
not
much homework,
meant-
sometimes it's a disaster
sometimes.
for the students.
Yes.
Yes, they have, because children have different needs than adults. They may have, they need this time to
Yes.
improve their needs.
Yes.
That's related to the disadvantages of homework.
Okay.
As we spoke about
Thank you.
benefits, we speak about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Majid,
Yes.
I think we are now at the end of our seminar. We have only 5 minutes, so we have to cover everything related to classroom management. I have a very important question. What should teachers do related to, let's say, homework, and what should teachers not do when we talk about homework assignment?
Right.
Please.
Thank you very much. We need to break the routine, not to do the same thing, not to ask the student to do the same thing. We need to vary the homework assignment types. Give classroom assignment built on homework so that students know
Reinforce.
what to do at home. Give importance to homework through oral comments and scoring papers regularly. We need to score the papers to show them that they are doing well or not.
Good.
Apply effective instructional practice to homework. Classroom teachers should do also assure that students have concepts and skills necessary to do the assignment. If the students don't know what to do with the homework, it is nonsense. So we need to make sure that they are able to do the homework we are giving them.
Good.
To review the assignment before giving it to students and anticipate difficulties, so that we make a
We have to be
simple,
clear from the very
facilitate,
beginning.
yeah,
Clear
make it
instructions,
yeah.
clear explanation about the activity.
And to teach the student the skills needed for every activity.
Yes.
Yes.
What classroom teachers should not do, give, as Ms. Umeme said, give the homework as punishment,
Yes.
or to make it reward not to give homework when they do well in the
Okay,
classroom.
today you were very good persons or people. Okay, you have no homework.
This is wrong.
Yeah, not to
This is
give
completely
too much
incorrect.
homework, not to give assignments that need too much time.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think there are instructions for assigning homework, right? Like
Okay,
giving
of course.
clear instructions and correct homework,
Yes.
give feedback, involve parents, challenge students at their
Good.
learning level by recognizing each student's unique needs and circumstances. Very important to recognize,
Yes, good.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Majid, another question. When we talk about homework, maybe there is a disagreement between many teachers of English. Would you please tell us about how much homework is enough for the student?
Yes. Every teacher needs to bear in mind that there are other subjects, not only English. So we don't need the student to spend the whole time just doing homework. For example, we can distribute time. Grades
Good.
1 to 3, no more than 20 minutes.
Good.
Grades 1 to 3. Grades 4 to 6, 20 to 40 minutes maximum. Grades 7 to 9, no more than 1 hour. 1 hour per night. Grades 10 to 12, from 1 to 2 hours per night. And I think it's too much, because if it is 2 hours for English, how
What
much is
about
going to
the
be
other
for
subjects?
other
Other
subjects?
subjects,
So
yes.
we want the teachers to make this homework to be beneficial.
I think
not to
one
be
hour is enough.
Tiring, yeah.
Half an hour is,
Half an hour
would be
is enough. So as when they give the homework, just to help them to understand what they took in the classroom, not to make it a burden on the
Exactly,
student. Don't
exactly.
give too much homework.
Good. Now, well, at the end of our seminar, I think we have many questions related to classroom management. And my question is it fair to grade students on homework?
No, of course not.
No.
Because somebody may have helped them doing the homework. We need to know their level in the school and to ask them to do homework to do more practice.
For example,
Well,
when
it's not fair.
when I say, okay, those who have done the homework get, let's say, 5 marks. And
Or
those
full mark.
who didn't do their homework, let's say, -5.
Of course not.
Okay?
It's not fair.
From, let's say, the oral.
The
or
teacher needs to judge the students according to the whole operation of
So
teaching.
it's not fair, and this is your answer.
Yes, of
You
course.
agree
Not
with
fair.
Mr.
Yes.
Majid? I agree with you. Well, the second question, isn't homework their practice?
Yes.
It's a kind of practice.
practice,
Both
yes.
of you said it's a kind of
Yes, that's
practice.
right.
Extra, let's say, job, extra
Yes.
activities at home. Why not?
Why not?
Okay. Were we graded as children as we learned how to ride a bicycle or to tie our shoes?
Of course not.
So it's not fair to
Yeah.
grade
Yes.
students on homework. Is it fair to penalize the students, Ms. Umayma, for
Of
assignments?
course not. No, it's not fair to penalize them for doing it late.
For
Maybe
the-
they have their own circumstances. We always insist on their abilities and needs. So it's
Good.
not fair to penalize, okay?
To punish
we give
them.
not, yes, it's not fair.
Say
we give
it's
them
okay.
another chance.
Next time,
Next time.
try to do it.
Encourage them to
And
do it.
if you don't know how to do it, please ask me before going home. I can help you. You are his teacher.
Yes.
And you are, let's say, the only person who can help him to do the homework. You can add something else. It's okay. If you have someone in your family who knows English very well, you can ask him, baby. It's okay. Don't forget your homework next time. Good job. Well done. Thank you.
We can call for the parents. We can solve the problem with the parents. We can find a way, but not to penalize.
And
Yes,
try
of
to
course.
choose your expressions because they have, let's say, a very strong effect on your student's character and performance.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, do I even need to assign homework at all?
If, in my opinion, if I could to do all the job at school, it is more beneficial. But when we lack in time, we need to give some homework to the students.
Well, thank you, dear colleagues, for your participation. Well,
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, English teachers, thank you for your participation. Thank you for watching us. And at the end, I'd like to thank my colleagues in the studio, Ms. Umayma Sherba, an English supervisor from Tartus. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Mr.
you.
Abdelmajid Overly, an English supervisor from Damascus countryside. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much
Thank
for
you for
your
your patience.
rich participation. Well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, we are going to talk about, let's say, some applied lessons which are specified for grade 1. Don't forget, watch us. Thank you and goodbye.